Does the stock market have you down? One of the things that people continue to invest in time over time, where a lot of people build wealth, is in real estate. Watch this video, like, subscribe. Toward the end of this video and during this video, you'll find out what investors are looking for. You'll find out how to invest like a pro. And you'll also be able to find out the top 10 cities that are the favorite picks for 2023, and it would make sense to make a move there. So let's get started. What is an investment in real estate look like? There's different ways to invest in real estate. There is your primary residence. As your primary residence, you're going to build up equity over time. Time over time, time and again, we see this inside of somebody's primary residence. Especially in Silicon Valley. Silicon Valley is one of those places that you're just going to always make money historically and moving forward. Have complete faith in that. People who just purchased a couple of years ago have got a lot of equity in their homes right now. So there's just really no question about Silicon Valley. Investing in your own home is going to build you equity, and a lot of people become very wealthy, sell eventually, maybe their kids sell, and then move on from there. If you're looking to invest in real estate, there's different ways to do this. You can invest in a single family home. You can invest in a duplex up to a fourplex and invest in a multiplex. A single family to a fourplex are not considered commercial. So a fiveplex and above for living spaces is considered a commercial building. There's some different reasons to know that. One main reason is that the lending guidelines will change, and that is a huge reason for it. Your cap rate will also change. But if you're a hardcore investor, you want to look at the cap rate. You want to look at the rate of return on your money. And the cap rate is going to be your net operating income over top of the market value. In other words, if you're looking to get the cap rate, your net operating income is $250,000 and the property is worth $3,500,000. You're going to take the $250,000 and divide it into the $3,500,000. You'll get a cap rate of 8%. That's a very good cap rate. Your rate of return is going to be that as well. So your net operating income is also known as your return on investment. So when you're looking at that, you're going to look at the cap rate. Many times in Silicon Valley, the cap rate doesn't tend to be extremely high. And there's different reasons for that. The main reason is that property values tend to be very high, and when somebody's putting their money into the property and purchasing the home, the return on investment or their cap rate is not going to be matching that. So when you're looking at the net operating income, you're going to be subtracting the normal operating expenses, excluding the mortgage payment, the principal and the interest, from the gross rental income. Once that is calculated, then you're going to divide that number by the property price to determine the cap rate. Once you've found the cap rate, that's going to help you understand what is your return on investment. Many times in Silicon Valley, you're not going to get a cap rate of higher than 5%. In fact, it's difficult to find a cap rate of 5%. Many times you'll find it 3 to 4%. As an investor, you're going to want to have a cap rate that's higher, better than lower. So a 3 to 4% cap rate, if you can find a cap rate someplace else, is going to be better for you. Again, if you're just getting started in the market to invest in properties and invest in multiplexes, Silicon Valley is not for the faint of heart. The reason for that is the values here are so high. Many times you might find an apartment building for a few $1,000,000, whereas if you go someplace else, you can get an apartment building with good rents for much less. One of the things I wanted to talk about today was not just here in Silicon Valley as far as investing here. This is a great place to invest. There's no question about that. If you're just getting started as an investor, it's a very difficult place to invest though. But I do have many investors who love to invest in Silicon Valley. Again, not for the faint of heart and not easy to get into because there's big dollars that go into it. Then I wanted to show you and talk to you about Zillow. Zillow has the top 10 cities that they expect to be the hottest in 2023. The reason I mention this is because I do belong to a large network of agents and realtors and teams that I refer my clients to. If you know of anyone who's looking to invest outside of Silicon Valley or outside of California, please let me know and I'm happy to refer you to somebody, and make sure you find the right agent who knows what they're talking about, and make sure that they're ethical and they're going to take good care of you, and make sure that you or the investor is moving forward with the best sound property or understands how to move forward. Before I get into that, what I would like to also talk about is what type of property to purchase. When you're looking to purchase an investment property, you can go with a single family. You can go with a duplex or a triplex or a fourplex. The rule tends to be the more doors that you have, the less vacancy rate that you're going to have. In other words, as a single family home, I have one door. That means that unless I go into that home and cut it up into compartments, which I've seen done, and it's just not the best way, doesn't bring the most value to the neighborhood. It can put money into the landlord's pocket, but many times it's not the best way to do it. So if you have just a single door, then that door has an ability to be vacant. And that vacancy is going to be 100% once that tenant, the single tenant that you have in there, moves out. So that amount of time, a month, 2 months divided by 12 months, is going to be the percentage time that there's a vacancy on the property. Now, if you go to duplex, triplex, fourplex, fiveplex, 10plex, 20plex, now you have, let's say, 20 doors as a 20plex, and out of all of those 20 doors, you can have 2, 3, 4 vacancies in a month, and you're still collecting rent from all those other doors. One thing to pay attention to as well is if you do have a single family home or a single door, so to speak, and you have a vacancy there, and you want to get the highest rent possible, getting the highest rent possible, is that more important, or is it more important to get somebody in there who's a good renter that may not be the highest rate, maybe $100 or $200 less than the highest rate paid? And the reason I say that is if I have a single door and I'm renting it out, and I want to get $3,500 a month, but it's worth $3,250 a month. Me as the landlord, how much am I missing out per month that home sits because I want that extra $250? I'm not missing out the $250. I'm missing out the entire either $3,500 or $3,250, the amount of the mortgage, or there's different ways to look at that. It can be the amount of the mortgage that you pay. It could be the amount of taxes. It could be the amount of insurance as well. So you could out much more money than just that additional $250 that you want to get on top of the $3,250 that maybe the property's worth. So that is certainly one thing to look at as well. Now, an investor is going to know that. That's why investors are also going to go for more doors when they're looking to purchase the more doors. The rate of return overall, if somebody is looking to purchase a single family home and rent that out, they can certainly do that also. And sometimes that looks like you purchase a home that may not be the most brilliant home in the neighborhood, but as a rental you can get good rents because there's great schools. If that's the case, you purchase it and it will more than likely be lower than the value of the other properties, sometimes, every once in a while. So in this type of market, you purchase it, maybe a little lower than the other properties around, great schools, fantastic, go in, somebody's not living there, so the home has to be in presentable condition. It doesn't have to be pristine and not always updated either, because many times if somebody's coming to rent, they're not planning to be there for a long time. So that is certainly another way to look at it. Doors, presentation, school area, what is your long-term goal? As an investor, if your long-term goal is to invest and eventually live off the proceeds of that property, that's certainly something to look at, and I'm always happy to have that conversation. Now, as I promised Zillow, top 10 cities for 2023. So top 10 cities that Zillow named for 2023 will be a great investment. I say this because if Zillow is saying we're going to be the hot cities, there's different reasons for it, and they do take a lot of different reasons and research into their algorithms. Their algorithms haven't always been right as far as the property values, and I can do a whole nother show on that one. But as far as the algorithms of the research that Zillow goes into, this tends to be pretty spot on. Number 10 is Philadelphia, the city of brotherly love. They say that home prices are dropping in the city, presenting new opportunities for buyers. The median sales price now sits at $245,000. That means that if you're going to look for an investment property, whether it be a single family or whether it be a 20plex, this is going to be a good place to do it. It's an up-and-coming city. Number 9, Atlanta, Georgia. Thanks to its high scores for affordability, populating growth, and job growth. Home price growth has proven consistent in Georgia Metro with a median sales price of $400,000. Number 8, Miami. 2022 proved to be a better year for Miami real estate. Despite the growth of mortgage rates, Zillow predicts it will last in 2023. Number 7, Kansas City, Missouri. Another Midwestern metro with promising affordability and high quality of life. Kansas City has proven to be a standout market amid high mortgage rates. Number 6 is Jacksonville, Florida. While Florida has gotten too expensive for some buyers, it is still remaining a highly attractive market for those who can afford it. Number 5, Nashville, Tennessee. Nashville rounded out the top 5, maintaining its status as one of the hottest markets of the pandemic years. Number 4, Dallas, Texas. They're in the playoffs this year. While Austin was the Texan boom city of the early years of the COVID-19 pandemic, housing costs in the city have become prohibitively expensive for most buyers. The market has responded by cooling at the fastest rate in the nation, according to a Redfin report. Dallas has emerged as a less chaotic alternative, placing fourth on Zillow's list. Let's look at number 3, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Again, illustrating the strength mid-sized Rust Belt cities in the Midwest and Northeast are expected to show in 2023. Number 2 is Cleveland. And Cleveland, the Ohio city on Lake Erie, scored high for affordability, adding weight to the theory that Midwest markets will shine in 2023. Number 1 is Charlotte, North Carolina. Zillow named Charlotte its hottest market of the year, continuing the trend of cities with relatively warm climates taking the top spot. Following Tampa in 2022 and Austin in 2021, all 4 of the cities included on the list last year made it onto the list this year, with Tampa just missing the top 10 at number 11. Indicating how dramatically the housing market has changed over the last year, Charlotte was one of them, placing 5th last year. So that's the top 10 that Zillow has. Now you have some insight to being an investor as well. If you have any questions about this, if you want to dive deeper into the investment side, please let me know. If you know of anybody who's looking to invest outside of California, please let me know as well. I'm always here and happy to help. Take care.